NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
My enemies' walls are bound to crumble, and to the floor their spears will fall. I've been made and sealed with love, but time to battle, I'll find them all. I felt the whips and remember chains, but my sword has been forged by my father's flames. Fight your fears and heal your pain, and victory will be in your name.
I used to be weak, but I'm not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened, I'm not afraid no more. The Father blessed me with the heart of a lion and a warrior soul. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail, and no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer them. Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of days. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my blade. Fire burn all Satan carrier. Father loose all shackles and chain. This morning first thing as I wake up, King David turned Sam to the brain. Don't let your courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart rip up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall, pick it up. When my cup was empty, God fill it up. Don't take the devil contract, rip it up. And if your bad mind people to go meet it up, pass me the Congo drum and let me beat it up. God on my side, me no give it up. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer them.
Thank you, Father. I want to say thank you, Lord. You are everything, Father. Thank you. Father, you alone shall guide me. No man shall lead my path. In the wind I hear your quiet whispers, and you heal my broken heart. Even some of my friends turn enemies, and they pray for right to feel. And remember you gave us your only begotten son, but we gave him the wound of love. Send down your warriors with the hello. They carry down to the end of days. No matter how the devil try trick me, unto you my soul I will give. Father, I know this time is coming. I can see the high tide raise. Without you there is no other. Could there be that will in myself?
No weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer them.
I am a man. I am a champion. I am a warrior. So who are you to tell me that I cannot make? Who are you to tell me that I am not the greatest thing that God ever created?
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and P.D. Martinique. You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on 97.5 CitysoundFM, 89.5 CRFM, 91.9 and 91.5 RealFM Radio, 92.9 Sister Al Radio broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 We Noise Radio. out there in Brooklyn, New York. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the live videos, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, wherever you may be. Good morning to you. It is a pleasure being here with you this beautiful Friday morning. And with me in studio, I have none other than my co-host, Mr. Roland Bola. Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning to you, Miss Duncan. I really do hope that your day has started really pleasant and that you had a restful night. Coming out of that, I don't want to call it big, but that lengthy. It wasn't big because as far as I heard, I wasn't invited. There was not much people, but it went on for quite a while. I understood that you stuck within the parameters of the protocols that was laid down.
Of course.
Your numbers was within range, but you all partied like forever. But anyway, I see you smiling this morning, so I know something must be good. Buju Banton it was who said, "I can see you smiling. It seemed like you were having a ball."
What? I getting sung to this morning
Well,
and all,
you didn't
Look
know
at
that one? Yes, it is the mighty Buju who sang that. Anyway, good morning to all our listeners out there. We're so happy to be back with you. I'm motivated, I'm energized. Last night was really good. Up my end of the woods, my neck of the woods, was good rainfall. Quite a bit. I think that pushed me this morning. I had two lengthy, about four, because they're broad, so I can plant two sets. Potato banks that I made and was waiting for when the moon, like the old folks do. They said in the dark moon, when the moon is going down, it's the best time to plant underground of food. That be underground, you plant it in the dark moon. Other food above ground, you plant it before the full moon, 3 days before, 3 days after. Kind of stick to those things. But I didn't even check for the moon this morning, This morning, all I did was just plan because we got so much rain last night up my side, and the weather is really good today. So it's good to be here with you again. It's good for us to, again, continue the conversation. We did promise you yesterday that we were going to continue that conversation because it is important. We spoke a lot yesterday about all of us, you and I, and every single one of us being the persons in charge of our destiny, taking charge of our life, ensuring that we know what the results of the next move will be. There's so much that others can do for us. There is so far that others can lead us. So the government, our bosses, our parents, our colleagues can give us advice, can lead us along a certain path. But we are the ones finally, I think we have established that must determine what that end result is. And we need to plan, as we've said. Just to rehash a little bit, we said sometimes you plan and things don't always work out exactly as we hope for it to, or we want it to, or we would like it to. And that is why you must plan. You must have a backup plan. You must have a second plan. You must have a plan in case the second and the backup doesn't work. So it's a lot of planning. And you plan and then you execute because you dream up an idea, you are told about something, you are encouraged by friends or relatives to do something, you sit, you think, you contemplate, as we say, on those things, and after you complete those things, after you do all the contemplation and the thinking and so, then you start the planning, and after you plan, then you have to execute. So it's all well and good to plan, but if you don't execute after the planning, then it makes absolutely no sense. But keep in mind that even after sometimes you start the execution, things can go wrong. Because you may plan to have something done in a particular way. You might be planning to achieve something in particular. However, my friends, there are times that the circumstances are wrong, you may change.
Yep.
The things that you expected to be when you were planning, it may move. Things may deviate. You were expecting to get a certain sum of money. That didn't come your way. You was expecting a certain friend to do something for you. That friend did not show up. So things could become different. And when that happens, you have to know that you must get to the next stage. So always prepare in your planning for the cases where things don't work out absolutely the way you planned it. So we want to continue that conversation today. We had quite a bit of callers yesterday, many people partaking in the conversation, because I think it's a conversation that concerns and touches all of us. It has no respect of religion, race, color, age, size, sex, or political affiliation. The issue of wanting to live a better life, the issue of ensuring that we cater for those who depend on us. So in those instances, parents looking after children, and guardians, or whatever, whether it is your biological child or so that you're fathering or mothering or parenting, or is it a social responsibility that you have agreed to provide. We must plan and prepare. And hence the reason when we spoke yesterday about some people having that difficulty and, is bashing and out there on social media saying that the government and the ministry should not be asking for a $50 contribution, so I would say, towards the distribution of the e-books, the tablets, the device that our children are now going to be utilizing in school. Secondary school ones are already here, and we're very hopeful that on or before the end of September, the first month in school, because as the minister established, all schools should reopen by the 7th of September, that the batch of devices for the primary school students hopefully will be here and would be ready for distribution. We have also established yesterday that, from the words of the minister, that it would be a slow process of transition, that it would not be a case where immediately they would put aside all textbooks and just deal with the device and use the e-books that are on them. But that it would be a process of acclimatization, a process where both the teachers and the students have to get used to, have to get accustomed to, have to understand how the device operates and what they cannot do with the device, and how the teacher can set work and give assignments and all of those things. So the appeal this morning really is for us as parents, more parents, and yes, the students to a certain extent, because we did have a caller who expressed some level of frustration and quite understandably so yesterday, of the fact that she knows in her neighborhood of a family or other families whom government has been doing well enough to assist through their social programs, ensuring that the materials for school, whether it's books and uniforms and transportation, and ensuring that school feeding program is taken care of, has been doing the best for that family. And in her mind, and from what she has seen, actually, more than what's in her mind, but what she has actually witnessed, that the parents are not making the best use of it, that the children are not understanding that it is the sacrifice of other people. You say government, but who does it really? It's same your ordinary people. It's the tax dollar, and so the value for money isn't there. You can't see it is recognized that the children has not made best use of it, and the parents are not doing anything to help. So we want to say to children like that, hey, listen, an education is maybe the only thing, or it's among the best things. Maybe I shouldn't put it down as the only thing, but it is among the best of what will elevate you from your present situation.
Of course.
It is really the vehicle that will drive you out of poverty into a better place. It is what you need to allow you to in society be looked up to and to be and to be seen as a progressive individual. Education, I think, is the number one thing that will do that for you. And so you have to understand that it is in your best interest, even if there is a struggle to get it, to do everything that you possibly can to get a better, a higher level of education and to become certified. Yes?
Yeah.
Parents must also know that they have a role to play. And the fact that you are unemployed or you're living in the bottom strata of society is no excuse for you not to make every single effort, as long as you have the breath of life, to ensure that your children or the children under your care and control get the opportunities that they desire or that they are worth getting, and that every effort is taken. No effort must be spared to ensure that they get a proper, well-rounded education. And I say proper and well-rounded because sometimes we tend to believe that only an academic pursuit is a proper education.
Yeah.
And that is not so true. Academics are important. I mean, come on. Which one of us want to be out there in the world or have our children not being able to write or spell their name or can't register a document of where they live because they can't spell the village where they live, or they can't spell the country where they live. Things like that are pretty rudimental that we want our children to learn. We must be able to count. There are a lot of people, adults today, sometimes we say it's no fault of theirs because their parents, like some parents are doing today, did not see the necessity to ensure that they go to school and at least learn the basics. So they work and they don't even understand how to count their money. They don't know if they are being robbed or being paid the fair amount. They don't know how to calculate the NIS payment. They don't know how to do percentages and so. So these basic academic things we must know. But there's also some people who you can observe from very early if you are an observant enough educator or teacher or person that is interacting with that individual, that they may have a tact, they may have a thing, they may have a certain talent that is away from, they may have a skill that they're very good at, and it's not purely academic, and so we must help steer them and guide them. So a well-rounded education is what we should aim to give our children. So yes, the state has its purposes to serve in ensuring that you have the facilities, that you have the equipment, that you have the teachers well trained and prepared and being remunerated properly to be motivated to teach these children. The Ministry of Education is the one empowered to ensure that these things happen and to govern and to administrate that. The principals, the teachers, they have their role. Parents, you also have a significant role to play in ensuring that you don't only put clothes on your children and send them to school, but that you constantly converse with them and remind them of their need to be respectable, to be disciplined, to ensure that they have respect for authority, and that the purpose that they are going into a school building, the purpose that they are going to be associating with other children sitting in a class and looking up on the board or listening to a teacher give a lecture or something, is because there is value in it for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Bola, I want to interject there because what you're touching on is something that is called the hidden curriculum, and for the teachers listening, they know, and educators listening, they know exactly what that is. Now, remember, I always say that the education system in any society is every teachable moment that your child is exposed to. It's every lesson that they learn from every experience that they've had. Now, the hidden curriculum is basically the side effect of schooling, right? It's things that you learn that are not openly intended, that a teacher doesn't really plan for. That those are things like norms and values and beliefs and these things, right? That you learn in the classroom. But the hidden curriculum is not only for the classroom, it is also for society, because in psychology, you learn about the social learning theory, where you learn that every child learns from social experiences, what they are witness to as they grow and develop.
Someone said children live what they learn.
Live what they learn. It's exactly that. Yeah. And I want people to understand that teaching goes more than just math and language and the basic things that you do in school. There's also that hidden curriculum, and that curriculum is actually more important than the curriculum that the OACS may hand to you or that your country may hand to you, because it is what will prepare the children for life. For life,
definitely.
Right? There is no book that guides you on how you manage the hidden curriculum, but you know that it's there. It's like, for example, your child comes to school and that child behaves a certain way, and you say to that child, listen, that is not the way that you are expected to behave. XYZ is the reason why. XYZ would be the outcome of such behavior. All of that is part of the hidden curriculum. These are things that you cannot plan for. They are unintended, unofficial.
But necessary.
unwritten lessons.
But very necessary.
But absolutely necessary. And I want parents to understand, parents as well as educators to understand that a lot more emphasis needs to be placed on that hidden curriculum. I believe that the hidden curriculum must now become intentional. We learn about it. We know it's unintended. We know it's unwritten. We know it's unofficial. But it's time for it to become official, because I feel like our generation and generation and generation after that, they're losing their values. Some people don't even understand, well, why am I doing what I am doing? How is that beneficial to my life? You may hear somebody saying, me, I ain't bothering with society, and the system is meant to drag me down and build and break me apart. But that is their experience. Can you ride on their experience? Does it relate to you? Does it fit in with your values and your goals and what you expect for your life? So these are the kind of conversations that we need to start again having with our children, because I feel like as parents, sometimes we just let all the teaching go to the teachers.
Exactly so.
We feel like, okay, the teachers must just do everything. We send them to school for 6 hours and they must come back proper boys and girls. But it must be a collaborative effect. Whatever the teacher does at school must be reinforced at home.
Complemented at home with the values that you teach, the
Of
customs,
course.
the norms, the discipline that you instill.
Of course. And that is why some teachers have it really hard. And I sympathize with some of them, because there are instances and there are situations where you have parents, teachers telling children not to do certain things, and when they go home, what am I saying there? You understand? So you have to know, and it's also important too. When I had my first grade 2 class, I remember having a meeting with the parents. And I remember saying to the parents that I cannot do it alone, that I must solicit their help. But I also made it my duty to say to the parents that these are the goals and expectations that I have set for my students. These are the things that I expect them to achieve at the end of grade 2. But in order to do that, I need your help. And it wasn't just things that are written in the curriculum. It's the values that I expect them to leave the classroom with. It's the skills that I expect them to hone in on when they leave the classroom. And I feel like that is something, or that is a conversation that parents and teachers need to start having.
So you're also touching in on the absolute necessity and importance of that relationship now,
Yes.
not just with student and teachers, but also parents and teachers. Parents
yes.
and the school. That dialogue must be ongoing, because you need to know the things that your child are involved in. And for too long, we recognize that society has become so busy. Everyone is just fighting about getting to work on time, getting to an extra job. And maybe it's necessary in many, many instances. Maybe based on the demands that are upon us in today's society as parents, trying to make sure that we create the right avenue at home, a proper home with all of the amenities for our children, trying to make them happy, doesn't leave a lot of time for us to interact with the other people that help to mold the lives of our children. Yes, so we don't go to PTAs, we don't make a time to call a teacher that teaches our child a particular subject, find out how they're doing, what the behavior is like in class. It is absolutely important, and we have to make time for that, because here's what. With all your efforts and hard work trying to ensure that you give that child a happy life, at the end of the day, that life may not be that helpful, I recently read something. I was reading a book, going through the book, and something was said about, in that book, I'm trying to remember exactly, about neighbors. They were neighbors, 2 men about the same age, and they happened to plant, it was a new neighborhood that they were into, and both happened to plant a tree. They got the plant from the same person at the same time and planted it. And sometime after, they both cared, one more than the other. He watered his tree much more, And sometime after, there was a heavy wind. And the guy who paid much more attention to his tree, watering it every single day, his tree fell down. And the other guy, his tree stood strong, even though the wind blew heavy. And that neighbor was like, what's really going on? We planted our tree together. I look at you, you don't tend to your tree every day. You don't water it and give it fertilizer like I do. But with the wind that passed, we are neighbors, your tree stood up and mine fell down. And the neighbor whose tree stood up, who did not give it all the attention, said to him, listen, you know what was the difference? You gave every single thing your tree need to it. So it never got the opportunity to spread its roots and to anchor itself and to get strong. Mm-hmm. I gave to my tree what I think I was supposed to give it and allow it to do the rest on its own. Now, what is the moral of this story? I am not saying in any way to parents that you're not supposed to give to your children. But the point here is, like I was saying, you try, you work hard, you get all the amenities at home for them. You give them every single thing and you do not allow them to understand, because in making every moment a teachable one, in ensuring that your child builds strong character, ensuring that your child is prepared not just to pass an exam, but to deal with the rigors of life, there are times that you cannot give them too much to eat or too much to drink. In other words, you provide what is necessary for you to provide and you allow them the opportunity within the confines of what you provide for them and the guidance that you give to them to sort out certain issues, solve certain problems on their own. I am not an educator. I've not been trained in that area, so I don't want to go too deep into a subject matter where I may tie both my legs up and fall down. But I do know the basics of these things. We have to give, we have to help, we have to be there to support. Yeah. But sometimes we have to allow, with guidance though, our children to make some steps on their own. Because if we don't, it's just like a baby. When they start making the first couple of steps, we hold their hands.
Yeah.
But soon we'll have to let go of them. They may fall.
Yeah.
But we are not far behind. If they fall, we pick them up, we encourage them, we say, go at it again. So it's a process. And we just want to encourage parents. Get this done. Make more time for your children. Observe them. Don't do everything for them. But someone once said, the most valuable thing you can spend on your children is your time.
Mr. Bola, I want to interject here. And I know my mother is listening, so mommy, I'm telling you early, don't cry, please. Okay. Because she likes to cry, yeah? She gets emotional.
She can always wipe her tears. Don't she have bath towels at home?
I want to take this moment, Mr. Bola, to say publicly how grateful I am to have the mother that I have. And I'll tell you why I said that. We grew up
say because I'm not the only one listening.
Yes, I'll tell everybody why I said that. Because we grew up, my siblings and I, it was 4 of us, and we grew up in a single parent home. It was just us and my mother. But I will tell you this. I probably would not be the person that I am today without a lot of her support. She spent a lot of her time grooming us. She spent a lot of her time educating us and playing a very, very active role, Mr. Bola, in our education process. And I am grateful for that, because I probably would not be the person that I am today without that sort of foundation. But apart from my mother, I had a lot of influential female educators in my lifetime, starting from as early as Miss Baptiste. I had a grade 6 teacher, Miss Baptiste, Miss Desiree Redhead, Miss Cheryl Bernabe Bishop. She was one of the most influential educators that I've ever experienced in my life, and she is responsible wholly and solely. I give her all credit for that, for my outspokenness, You know, she motivated me,
and
she
you,
brought
yes.
out this part of me that was really hidden, and I'm very grateful for that, I must say, you know. But and that just goes to show I never grew up in a perfect home where everything was handed to me, you know. And then on top of that, I graduated, and I graduated valedictorian on top of that. But then I got pregnant early, and my life kind of sidetracked from what my goal was. But that never stopped me. And that is why I continue to say to people, set goals for yourself. Because guess what? Failure is not the end. It just shows you, it's not fatal. Yes. It shows you where to not trod again. But it also motivates you to work harder to get to where you want to be.
Well, it should motivate you, I want you to say, Duncan. Because there are some of us, when we hit the first failure, everything drops.
Yeah.
We're finished.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no more motivation. We feel that's the end of it. And that's why yesterday and today we are reiterating that failure is not fatal. You are not dead. You are not finished. It's not the end of life for you. Also, as we say that, let me say the opposite too. That success is not final.
Yes.
Right? Because while failure is not fatal, you should not give up, you should not give in, you should get up and try again. I said it yesterday, I want to repeat it today. The true strength of a man is not on how hard he can pack a punch. I mean, I kind of have a little muscle here. I could give you a good one. But that doesn't demonstrate my true strength.
Yeah.
They said the true strength is measured by how many times you can get up.
After you
start all over again after you fail down. Success, on the other hand, because you plan, you go at a certain goal, you achieve it. It is not final. You don't end there. You don't stop working. You don't stop thinking. You don't stop pursuing, because this is just one of the many, many, many goals we have to achieve in life. But more than that, when you achieve a certain goal, when you get a certain success, you have to continue the process of working hard to stay at the level of success.
Of course.
Because it's not like a planet you land on when you become successful and everything else just becomes a reality. You get there, yes, you get at the top of the ladder. Oh my God, the work becomes much harder to stay on top of the ladder.
Yeah.
And the reason why we want to emphasize those things is because we are looking at our society today. And I want to repeat that point, that a lot of the young people who engage themselves into activities that as adults we believe are not the best activities for them. I don't believe and I don't count them as bad people. I don't believe that they are gone and they can't be no help. Some of them are misguided. Some of them may be frustrated. Some of them may be encouraged by people who they have belief in. And that's another thing. You mentioned a couple of teachers and people who were influential in your life. There are a lot of people who can be influential in your life, but not for positive and good reasons.
It's true.
They can influence you into doing things that are not going to bring positive moments for you.
Absolutely.
And that's the other reason why we say, even when you are advised, you need to also think for yourself.
Yes.
So yes, a friend, a colleague, a motivator, someone who you look up to, they tell you about something. They encourage you to get into something. Do your own background research.
Yeah.
Don't just take it, as we would say in local parang, don't take it hook, line, and sinker. You know? Yeah, you want to throw on that bait. But look at the hook. How big is it? Is it going to catch you? Is it going to hold you there? Or would you be able to get away from it? So you need to do your own research. We can't be too laid back, too lackadaisical. To achieve, to be what you want to be, to get where you want to be, you must put effort into it. Again, we want to repeat. The outcomes of anything in your life, any activity you participate in, is entirely up to you.
Absolutely.
Others can assist you, others can push you, others can encourage you, others can help to teach you. But you, in the final analysis, must be determined enough to absorb what they're saying, to verify what they're doing, so you're not lazy. You're going to get some facts on your own. You're going to inquire. You're going to check with other people. You're going to look at the results of people who have been through that process before you. So there is always work for you as the individual that wants to achieve. You can ask for advice and it can be given to you. Or sometimes advice are given freely, without solicitation from you. But it doesn't mean that you just take it wholesale, my dear.
Yeah.
Think. And parents, you have to encourage your children to become critical thinkers. That is why you need to spend time with them. I mean, I know there are some parents that might be saying, well, look, I didn't even go to secondary school for myself. My child in secondary school, the work they're doing, what do I know about it? I remember my mother. Similarly to yours, I grew up in a single parent family. I'm the first of 10 children that my mother had. 10. Yeah, you had a little bit of siblings. I have a lot. We all are alive. Thank God for them. My mother has gone to the great beyond.
That's the
God
true
rest.
definition of be fruitful and multiply.
Of course. God rest her soul in peace. God will always think about her. She was fruitful and she multiplied well. Yes. But the thing is, while we too were from poverty-stricken family, not having all of the amenities that your neighbors or your friends may have had. My mother didn't go to a secondary school. But here is what? Here is where her attention to us helped and mold all of us to be what we are today. She would ensure that every day you come from school, you're in secondary school, go get your homework done. Make sure you do it. Take your time. Do it properly and leave it on the table. I want to look at it before. So there I was, and so were my other siblings, making sure that you sit there and you think, because, boy, if you ain't right, and she was quick with a belter, I got good blows. I won't talk about it another time. Nobody don't ask me about the amount of licks I get from my mother, but I could tell you, I guess some. I was kind of stubborn too, so. So you had to. It became part of your life that when you get home, you do other things. I mean, in those days when I grew up with my mother, we didn't have like pipe-borne water being brought to our home, so we had to. I personally, as the boy, the one with the muscle, had to carry all of the water from the standpipe, to the house, fill up all of the buckets and barrels and whatever have you, because I had younger sisters who had to bathe and thing, and mommy wouldn't allow them to go to the pipe, the public pipe to do it. I had to bring the water home for cooking, for doing all this stuff. That was my rule. And then I had to get down to do the homework. Whether it's 1 subject area, 5 subject area, you have to do it. Make sure you do it and leave it on the table. Did she look at it? I don't know. Did she go through it? I don't know. Did she know what you did there? I don't know. But in your mind, why, let me try my best and do it.
Yeah.
So it was not, they didn't pressure you and they didn't force you. But I think they learned that parenting skill that made you want to do it with a little fear. You had some little fear in you that if you didn't do it and do it well, but it's not only the teacher who deal with you, but your mother can deal with you.
Yeah.
I don't know how they adapted that, where they got it from, who taught it to them, or if it's a special instinct that when because I believe that life, when our backs are against the wall, it gives us certain instinctive power to do things that we didn't know we could have done before.
Yeah.
Because we have never had an opportunity to test it. So I think our parents, being single mothers and having to fend for the young ones all on their own and decide to take up that responsibility wholeheartedly, they learned certain things on the way. As you've said, the mistakes that they've made have taught them how not to make them again and how to teach their children not to make those mistakes. So, I mean, there's not a one-size-fits-all. There is not just one way in which it must happen or it can happen. I mean, different strategy, different approaches.
Different strokes for different folk.
As they say, works for different families. And parents, you have to know what will work with your children. Yes, you can listen to what other parents are doing, what other people are doing, and you can fashion yours, but everyone must have their own independent way of doing what they have to do. I think we have a first caller.
Yes, we do. Good morning, caller.
But everyone must
Oh, my caller, if you're listening to us on the radio, you have to lower your volume and listen to us on the phone. Hello? Oh, my caller, if you're listening to us on the radio, you have to lower your volume. Hello? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bowler and Ms. Duncan.
Good morning.
Yes, I hear you guys talking about, I listen to the program very often. And there is topics you guys talk about. Sometimes I don't agree with you guys, what you guys are saying. But this morning, I agree with everything you guys saying. Parents have to take a valid, active role in their children's life. I'm calling from New York, and my son go to a school where there is thousands of children. And you know, the teacher could know that his parents are not American because of the way he behaves, the things he say, and the way that he reacts when the teachers talk. Because my parents teach me that we have to respect those in authority. Mr. Bola, you might know my father. I'm not even saying who his name is, but he's dead already. Mr. Jeremiah.
Okay.
And he taught us to have respect. That Mr. Vickers Jeremiah.
Vickers, yes. Make me happy. That's how we used to call him.
Right. He teaches to have respect. And the story about the tree, and he also teaches to have to make sure that we work hard for what we want.
Yes.
Work hard. And as you say, sometimes they give you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but if you want a little snack in and between, you have to get it for yourself.
Yes.
They don't just throw things at you and say, okay, there. You have to work. So that's the fundamental. That's how parents could teach their children. Even this morning, my son get up and asking me for breakfast. I say, go make it for yourself. You have to teach them to learn how to take care of themselves while you at the back watching and making sure that they do the right thing.
Great.
And let me ask you something, Ms. Duncan.
Yeah.
About the tablet. Is it every month the children have to pay $50 or just one time?
It's one fee for registration for the entire school year.
Once they pay the $50.
And the parents, just one time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the people are getting on like that. I thought it was because we were talking about it yesterday, me and somebody. And I said to them, I don't know if it is every month they have to pay that $50 or one time.
One off.
And one off. And every month, just one time. And they're quarreling about $150. And they get it $150. Some of them, they're doing their hair every day. They nail every day.
I don't think it's every day, man. Regular. Well, not every day.
I mean, regularly. But as Mr. Bola said yesterday, just put away $10 every week.
Yes.
I don't mean every day. Just put away $10 every week. Or if some people, as you said, some parents cannot afford to even pay that $50. And what I think the Ministry of Education should do, she should find out, like, who the children's parents is and the background, where they come from. Because I know in my community, when I go and visit, there is a family there. I don't think they could afford to pay a $50 because they have like 7 kids.
Yes.
I don't think they could afford to pay all that money for the tablet. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If they could find out, if they could help the parents that cannot afford.
Well, I can tell you that the system that operates in Grenada, normally, the people who really cannot, they do get help. I mean, we are a nation of people that talks even when people don't ask us questions, we just talk. And so the information does come, and it's normally investigated, and no child will be left out, my dear. We did say that some people probably can't afford it, and the ministry will get to know those who can't, and they will assist them. They wouldn't say because your parents can't pay, you won't get a tablet. Definitely not. It's not going to happen.
I know, and I know. I know that. So, and you guys keep up the good work, and I'll be listening.
Thank you very much, and let you know also, it is your absolute right, my dear, not to agree with us all the time. We don't expect that, and don't feel bad. We don't feel bad. As a matter of fact, we're happy to know that sometimes the things we talk about, some people don't agree with us, but we don't get angry with one another for that. We have that right. We have that right.
I will never get angry. We have that right to not agree with one
another. Definitely so. So thank you for your call. Thank you for your contribution. We really do appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Great.
Mr. Paula, I just want to make mention here. I did try to get some more information from the minister as it relates to the e-learning devices. It's going to be run in the same way that the school book program will be run.
Right.
So you get an e-book device that is at $50. You have that e-learning device for the entire
school year. Yeah.
At the end of the school year, you re-register again, paying so at the end of the 5 years, you would have paid about $250.
Yeah.
Now, mind you,
if your child is in Form 1.
Mind you, if your child's device gets damaged, the $50 will cover that damage.
Right.
And you would pay another $50 to replace the one that to get the replacement.
Yeah.
So I don't understand, and maybe I am seeing it differently because I don't find issues in a lot of things, and I try my best to see the positive in a lot of things, but I don't see the issue of it with the $50.
But remember, we also established the fact yesterday, Ms. Duncan, that even some of the people probably who are complaining may not necessarily be parents and people who have a vested interest in school operation and in the children's education. Sometimes a lot of the comments come from people who, one, maybe don't have a child, two, who, because of the political affiliation and the dislike for the administration or the minister, or don't want to see anything positive happening under this administration, makes and put out a lot of those comments. There are a lot of people who have a lot of fake accounts, and they put things out there to generate responses and to rile up people and to get them. So, I mean, maybe while there are some parents who probably are genuine parents that say it, maybe a lot of the other comments that we're seeing and we're hearing about are not coming from genuine parents who understand, listen, hey, there's a cost. And I still do believe if we get an opportunity to speak to the minister live on air or have a back-home conversation with her, that it is necessary to itemize the cost of doing that, having the e-books, so that people can get a better appreciation. And we can also show for the numbers, the thousands of tablets that are in here for the secondary school children, what it costs for shipping, for purchasing, for programming, for maintaining, and what amount are you going to really collect from the $50 you're picking up from everyone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And then you have to look at the issue of maintenance and
all
the
of
books that
things
are attached to it and all of that. So for me, it's not an issue.
Right, but for some people, they want to have more details. And I think we should give the details to them so they can have a better appreciation. Because, sometimes people say things and when they get the facts, then they say, that is what it is. And we continue to say to people that when you hear something, do verification.
Yeah.
Don't just listen to comment. Don't just read to write back. Read to understand, question what you're not too sure about, and so you have a better appreciation of what is happening.
And I've spoken to some of my colleagues in the Caribbean, because when you study, that's the beauty of UE Open Campus or UE. You get to meet with a lot of different people who are in the same or aspire to be in the same career as you. And I spoke to a few of them this week as it relates to what their protocols are for the opening of schools. Some of them, and we all opening around the same time. St. Vincent, I believe, is opening on the 7th of September, and Anguilla is the 31st of August, which is the
Like the week
following
before.
Monday, not
Yeah.
not the Monday coming, but
Yeah.
the following one, and so on, and
I know Dominica is the 7th of September.
of September as well.
Yeah.
Now, one thing they all have in common: they heard about the e-learning devices that they will be receiving, but they have not received it as yet. It has not arrived on the island as yet. So that just goes to show we are still leaps and bounds ahead, of a lot of countries as it relates to that. And on top of them getting the e-learning devices, they do not have their own official platform for learning. We have that. Our platform does need building. It does need,
Constant strengthening
tweaking
and
so on. And even the University of the West Indies has an open campus. As an open campus, they have a platform for learning, and it in itself, we still have problems with it. I can tell you that because I experience it all of the time. Sometimes we go on there, we can't find things, it's not posted, a lot of things happen. But you have to understand that these things are work in progress. And sometimes we have to look past the politics, look past the pettiness of what goes on in society, and understand the value of the things that we are given or that is being afforded to us. And when it starts, it may not be perfect. It may not be the greatest thing that ever hit the island. But that doesn't mean it cannot become
the
greatest thing.
Yep.
But in order for that to happen, we have to see the value in it.
We have to embrace it, and we
Yes.
have to all be part of it and work with it.
Yes.
Because it's a process, and it is where the world is going.
Of
I think we
course.
established that yesterday. It is not
It's where the world is
something
going.
that just Grenada wants to do. It is where the world is leading. The whole issue of technology and the utilization of these virtual platforms is the way business, in fact, business has been done like that throughout the world. You buy things on Amazon and all those places. So people are actually using that already. So we have to go with it. There's
We have a call on the line. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, I'm just listening to your show. I said I'm a avid listener, and like the caller previously, she mentioned that sometimes we don't always agree, and it's okay to disagree. As Mr. Bowler said, sometimes it's good for conversation. Dialogue and debate is a healthy part of a conversation. But just to go back to what the topic is about, those devices that is being proposed for the students to use, I think it's an excellent idea, and then one of the main points is we have to make sure that the families that may not be able to afford it, that, certain provisions are in place for them to get the necessary finance so they could do that. But again, I think we need to adopt a policy of more nationalism. And when I mean nationalism, just think about the greater good of the people instead of this party politics, whether you're on the left side or the right side. Education is for the kids, and if you could put that aside and just see the positive and the good in the program and stop trying to bring each other down, just uplift. And it's really for the kids at the end of the day. If we love Grenada, I know everybody does, let's just look past the other stuff and just get the programs out there.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution, caller.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. We as the caller said, nationalism.
Well, of
We
course.
have to practice it more, honestly. We have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Duncan.
Hi, good morning.
Mr. Bowler.
Hi, morning. How are you,
I'm
sir?
okay, man.
Great.
Yeah, Mr. Bowler, sometimes in life, we as parents, we spoil our children. Because one of the things that everything that they want, we just give them. We give them. But sometimes, yes, we could give them, but we have to let them know. So, what I'm giving, it don't come easy. It comes through hard work. Hard work. And then when we let them know that to work hard and to be successful in life, you have to work hard. You have to make up your mind that to be successful, you just receive things just so. We just give them things. Everything they ask, we give them. Alright, we don't explain to them and put them sit down and let them know how we reach to that stage in life. Alright, so we give them and we continue giving them. We don't explain to them. I want to say to the student at school open, know your purpose, why you enter into a learning institution. You enter there to be a successful student. To be successful, you must be disciplined. You must have a discipline. You must have respect for authority. Because one of the things that, because you may be academically inclined, but if you lack respect and you lack discipline, they're going to hinder you from achieving your goal. So respect is key. I want to say to parents, encourage your children. Encourage your children to be respectful to authority. Yes, the teacher doing the part, but we need to play our part. Because, when we're teaching children to be respectful, and we parents teaching our children to be hate one another, that cannot work. It should be across the board. As we can say, we have to collaborate that. Respect with respect. Right? And if you teach our children and to respect authority, they will be successful in life. And to climb high, you must be respectful, and you must have a positive attitude to be successful in everything that you need to achieve in life. Mr. Bola, have a wonderful day.
Thank you, man. Have a good Friday and a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, Mr. Bola, and he's so right. It takes all of us. You know that phrase, "Tout moun bagay"? You know what that means?
No, you know broken French better than I do. Patois.
All are we.
Okay.
All are we. Just simply all are we.
Tout moun bagay.
Tout moun bagay. Each and every single one of us has a part to play.
Well, I think the previous one, not the last one, the previous one, did put in a word there that we must embrace and utilize much more. The issue of nationalism. And hence the reason when we had this issue of defiance and breaking of the law, and so I made mention and said, where are our leaders? Church leaders, community leaders, civil society, opposition to the government. Where are their voices? Their silence was deafening. None, if ever at all, a very, very minute among came out and said, look, this issue is not about politics. It is not about who like or dislikes NNP. It is not about who is voting or not voting NNP. It is about our security. It is about Grenada. It is about a pandemic that is out there that can affect us in such a way that our country not even be brought on its knees, on its bottom, because we have bigger, stronger, and I keep saying we have economies that are 100-fold better off than Grenada that are struggling now. The hospitals cannot deal with the amount of patients they're having. They can't even procure enough masks for the people to wear. All of the problems that it's bringing. We need nationalism on certain issues. There is the party political side that I don't expect someone who is anti-NNP and have their own party issues that they want to push to agree with NNP on those things. But there are issues nationally that crosses boundaries, religious and political, that is for everybody to deal with, that everyone should lend a voice and support to. So, for instance, the education of our children and trying to ensure that the education system develops. I mean, maybe you might have a different idea as to how to do it. You might have taken a different approach. But is there anything wrong in saying that you think that this is a good program? However, though, had I been the one administering it, I would have done this instead of that, or would have done that before the other. But the general sense is that the program is a good one that needs national support. And so, parents, we are saying to you, you have your role. We understand that any amount of money at any time when things are rough and tough in a society like it is now with the pandemic is a lot of money to be asking of people. $50, $10, $20, $25. It is a tough ask. But you have to make that sacrifice. You have that responsibility. Yesterday, I think somebody said, boy, granted that some of them wasn't prepared for bringing kids in the world. Maybe so. Maybe you weren't. Maybe that's not what you expected. But here's what. From since we were little, we were taught, if you play with fire, you're going to get burned. right?
Yeah.
And so that's why we say have a plan, have a backup plan, have a second plan, and still have a plan in case all of those previous plan fails.
I'll tell you this, Mr. Bola. I'm never afraid of giving my story. I got pregnant at a very early age.
You mean you were what, 13, 12?
No, not that early. I
11?
finished school already. Stop
Oh,
that.
sorry. No. You said, and you
An
qualified
early
by
age.
saying very early.
Okay,
So
for me,
just
a
want
very early age is 18. I got
Okay.
pregnant at the age of 18.
Okay.
When
Well, you could give consent because you turned 18.
Yeah, man.
You was considered an adult.
an adult.
Okay.
But at that point in my life, I felt like I should have been moving on to tertiary education, grounding myself, these kind of things. Because as soon as I graduated, I went straight into teaching, right?
And then into that other thing.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
And Mr. Bola, I'll tell you this. At no point in my life did I feel defeated. I was derailed, yes, but I was not defeated because I had a goal. And I still have that goal. And every year I add a goal on top of that goal. Because when I get to that one goal, that's not the only goal I have for my life, or it should not at least.
Success is not final.
It's not final. So every day, every year, I build and I build and I build to become that person that I see myself as. And that is why the last time we had that conversation about becoming your better you must see where you want your life to be, You must see where you want to be in 5 years and in 10 years and work towards that. Somebody can't have that vision for you. That must be your vision. Government's vision is for the country on a whole, where they want to see the country, whether it is economically, the social status of the people in our country. All of that is for government to do. But for you as an individual, you must know where you want your life to be.
And you must be able to fit your values and your goals and the direction you want to go within
your means.
Yeah, and within the overarching goals that the government is setting for the nation. Yes? You can't just sit down and say, well, okay, government say free education for everybody. So, but within that parameters, what is it that I do as an individual to ensure that I maximize on what the government is providing?
Absolutely. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Miss Campbell.
Miss Duncan.
And Miss Duncan. And, yes, sorry, and Mr. Bola.
Good morning, Miss
Campbell.
Cammy.
You don't want to take me call this studio.
No. Sometimes the lines get crossed. Sometimes the lines get crossed.
And good morning to Ian in Canada and Patricia Arthur Campbell in Canada, and to Mr. Watts and Singo and all the Grenadians in England and America is listening. Mr. Deputy and his family. It's a beautiful day today in Grenada. This is just dead out here. And good morning to the Prime Minister and everybody who's listening my voice right now. We're sticking it terminal, Mr. Bola.
Yes.
Business is slow.
Yes.
But we have to cope with it.
Yes.
You wouldn't remain that way. You turn around, get now.
I believe you.
So I just wanted people to know I'm kicking on a line. Look at Fluffy sit down here. All of us there, we just coping, nothing going on.
Right.
You understand?
Well, Fluffy, I'm going to look
So
for
anybody
partner.
that want to come and help me today, come and give me a little help. I'm crying out.
All right.
Mr. Prime Minister, I love you with all my heart. And I want to tell Grenadians, watch. Y'all don't know too much about Kit Mitchell, I look pray for the Prime Minister. That is a man that has love for poor people in this country. Miss Camille was a homeless woman once. Listen to me. I have to tell all you again, I might dead anytime. I was a homeless woman in this country here. And nobody did stretch hand for me, and I cover that man. And that man helped me go in the bridge. And that man helped me. I don't know where to lie down today, I don't know where to lie down. I lie down upstairs, I lie down downstairs, I lie veranda. Thank God for that man.
Yeah.
And if it's about on a serious note,
Yes.
it bothers me when people say these things of people's tribute. When people say things about a poor Prime Minister, that man loves poor people. Because he comes from a poor background family. You understand?
Yes.
I love it with all my heart. decision Peter David made in his life was to get himself involved with the Prime Minister, join that party.
Yeah.
And I thank God for them. And all the ministers, all the people saying opposition, I thank God for all of them. Leave the Prime Minister alone. Pray for him. He's a good driver for now. He's a good driver.
Yes.
He's driving that bus.
The driver could drive.
Yes.
He driving like Fluffy.
Of every Grenadian, not that me alone, but every Grenadian home and abroad. I don't want to worry about that by yourself. Are you getting 15-0? Stop telling all of that. I'm making a sacrifice and I'm going to God. And I'll start to give us 15-0 again. So I want this man that then heard you calling the Prime Minister Morocco. And the other one, that King. All you stop that and pray for the little country. If all you look at what's going on in the world today, Father God bless us. We don't have no so much death but dead. Thousands of people dead in America.
Yes.
Thousands of people dead in England. The man carrying the bus forward. You know what the police word? Leave the man alone and pray for him. But God said, pray for your enemies. So if you have any enemies out there, pray for him. And I thank God for him because he's taking care of me. He cares about me. He wants to know it's all right. And I have to speak out before dead. I don't want when he's dead to say nothing. Why is he alive?
Yes.
I want somebody to call him and say, do what Mr. Tommy say. Leave the Prime Minister alone. That is the best we have. In Grenada, Carriacou, City Market. Have a blessed weekend, Grenada, and home and abroad.
All
The
right.
back father could take it.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Miss Cammy.
Thanks,
you.
Miss Cammy.
You have a good weekend too. And I want Fluffy and the boys to know, go and look for Rex. All you know what's going on with Rex. Rex is not too well. He lost his leg. A bus driver who used to drive on the Granite Tank. So,
All right.
have
We
a
have,
good
an,
weekend.
we have another call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning,
Hi,
Miss
good morning,
Duncan and Brother Bowler.
Good morning.
Miss Duncan, earlier on you said your mother might have cried listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
I have to confess, you made me cry.
Oh, wow.
Miss Duncan, you have a lot of power.
Apparently.
My daughter, my loving daughter,
Mm-hmm.
she went through a situation almost like yours. Her mother and I, we loved her so much. We tried we provided everything for her. And she realized that we were working so hard to provide for her. While she was in high school, she said to us, she wants to work. I said to her, girl, we just want you to focus on your education. She said, you've given me so much. I need to work. She started to go to a company filling out envelopes, getting just a few dollars because she wanted to have her own money. She went to college. She got pregnant. And we never gave up on her. We stayed with her. She fell down. She got up. Even in college, she kept working. I'm nervous now. The tears coming from my eyes. Mm-hmm. She got her degree. She never let the knockdown keep her down.
Yeah.
She picked up. She is one of the best executive in a company that I know today.
Amen.
We stood behind her. She stood up for herself. And thank God today, I'm so proud I never let my daughter down.
Great.
God bless you all.
Great
Amen.
example.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
You have a blessed Friday, a good weekend, both you and the rest of your family.
Yeah.
Perfect example of what we have been talking about, Ms. Duncan. Planning, but not giving up even when you fail. Because even with the best plan, sometimes just one move out of line can cause your whole plan to be derailed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you are not finished.
Yeah.
You have not hit the finish line yet. You have not touched that bell, because you must keep going. You must get up. You must start all over again. There's a story about a race where, it was not, they said the race is not for the fastest, but for those who can endure to the end. You can fall down.
Yeah.
Very early. The first 100 meters, if you're doing 800 meters, but you can get up. And we've seen it happening in athletics many times. And keep going and overtake all those that are ahead of you and still become victorious. But I think the other takeaway from that last caller is that as parents, as guardians, even when failure comes and you become disappointed as a parent, don't give up on the individual. Every man is greater than his deed.
Yes.
Every one of us has something more to offer than the deeds that we do now.
Yeah.
And if we get the encouragement, and if the people around us that so wronged us stand and encourages us and continue to push and support us, we can still all become victorious and successes in life.
And you have to see and use the gifts that you have and the gifts that you are granted, and you'll know them. You know what those gifts are.
Yep.
If you ask any of my friends, and I even exhibit it here, and I choose, it's all about choices. I choose for my life positivity. And I see issues, but you know what I see beyond those issues, Mr. Bola? Solutions. And I'm very quick to act. Ask any of my friends and they would tell you that. If you call me with a problem, the first thing we're talking about is the solution. How we fixing that? What can we do? Who can we call? Where can we go? Let's just fix it. Because you see, sometimes we spend as a people so much time focusing and dwelling on the negative aspect of a situation that we miss the whole point of it, because in every experience, every situation, every issue, there is either a teachable moment or a blessing, and if we spend so much time focusing on the negativity, we missing the lesson and we missing the blessing, so we have to, as a people, stand up and say, okay, this is what I want for my life. This is where I see myself in 10 years. And in order to get there, I may have to take 50 steps. But Mr. Bola, you might take 10. And I may look at your 10 steps and say, well, I've been walking forever and I had to take 50 steps. How come he only take 10?
Because my foot longer than yours.
Because your foot might be longer. You're very right. But it doesn't mean that because you take 10 steps and I had to take 50 steps, I am less capable of getting to where you are, And that is why we have to continue to encourage our young people. Even in society, our leaders, and like we say, leaders is not just government, it's every individual with an influence. They are our leaders, and our leaders must start telling our young people, listen, you are enough. You are enough, and you are going to make it. And we have to start telling them that, so they start reciting that, and they start feeling it, and they start living it. And it's something that we don't talk about enough. When you see young people so depressed and young people so defeated, and you wonder, well, why is this person so defeated? Because they've fallen 50 times and nobody that they look up to have ever said to them, listen, you have fallen, but get up, because you are enough and you are going to make it.
As President Obama said in one of his words that remained with me, and I think with a lot of people in the world, yes, we can. Mm-hmm. You have to give people that encouragement. You have to make them know that they can, despite the circumstances around you, despite the fact that people may look down on you. Some people may say nothing good can come from this family, nothing good can come from this home. Look at those who went before them. None of them had done well. You can make that difference. And the young people out there, even though you were engaged in defiance and you jump up in jab, it doesn't mean that you cannot be successful and you cannot be good. It doesn't mean that you cannot bring about that change that is necessary to be the best you that you can be.
And Isabella, I want to play a clip, but we have a caller on the line.
Yes.
So we're going to take the call, and then I'll play that clip for us. Good morning.
Good Good morning, Miss Duncan.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning to the nation. Good morning to the listening public. Now, Mr. Bowler, this trending topic this morning, it is so important, but it becomes even more important from a parental standpoint. The amount of emphasis that parents put on the development of the children and on the education. I have seen and I have noticed that many parents, right, not the majority, but a lot of parents, is not interested in the education of the children as how they are interested in receiving whatever contribution is coming from the state for the children. This is a serious thing that we have to look into. I've seen it firsthand. I want the QNC officers to pay special attention to the register in the school and to the children who are not attending school, because based on the support that government is giving to children today to attend school, QNC should be at the minimum or no QNC at all. That's an area of concern. It's an area that has to be looked into. And I would like the QNC officers to look into the children who are not attending school. And there should be no reason why they should not attend, because they are provided for. Today, when I was going to school, education was almost a privilege and not a right, especially in secondary school. Today, it's across the board. Every child, regardless to your social status in society, you have the opportunity. And education is going to move us out of poverty. And I want parents, those who are not paying special attention to their children, to be more involved in the development of the children, because that is what is going to take you forward, move you to the next rung of the ladder, and once you move this whole state, your community move with you. When you was growing up, they said it took the community
to grow a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have not yet lost that. But I do not think that people pay, especially from a community standpoint, that now my child, it doesn't matter. My children go to school already, so I don't matter if they go or not. I think that if we do not pay attention, those delinquents will come back to haunt us tomorrow.
Of course they will.
Yeah, and I heard you said, Mr. Bola, that Rex has lost one of his feet,
His leg, yes.
And, Mr. Bola, coming out from your community, right?
Yes.
One man is responsible for having a St. Andrew's Bus Association today. There was no buses traveling on the hills before that man from your community.
Magbot
Clement. Control.
Yeah. I worked with him as a young man when I left school as a bus conductor,
Yeah, but what I say, you see the example of control? Today we have a bus association.
Yeah.
People did not the wisdom of control in seeing that it is that route is a viable route. Why have to leave Sotes and go wrong and go St. David's to go into St. George? Why should we leave Greville and then pass and go to St. David's? We could just go over the hill, which is just 14 miles.
Yes.
Control had that vision.
Yes.
And from that positive vision of control, we see how he has changed the dynamics of the transport system. Some say, our people, get involved. Look at what is happening. Educate, or there cannot be too much emphasis on education. No longer is the sky the limit, because tourists going in space now. So we pass the sky. So for the new term, I want to see that greater emphasis, especially from the parents, is being placed on the development of the children, and with all extracurriculum activities, let us take a step back. Look at how we grew up. Look at how the community was involved in the development and the education of our children. And I think we can do much
Thank you so much for your valuable contribution.
As per usual.
As per usual. Now, I've been trying to reach the minister because remember, I promised that we would try to get some further information before the week closes on what we can do, or more information on the whole tablet situation, and of course the reopening of schools, because we know next week she's going to be rather busy in getting things in order. I've been trying to reach her for the better part of the morning, and we've been having so much calls coming in, but I am going to try just one more time, and let me see if we could get her, because I believe that she has some information that we would put a lot of queries to rest, you know.
Go right ahead.
And we want to make sure that that is done. But I would love if the callers could free up the line for me. We have so many people trying to call, but I wish the callers would free up the line for me. I know this is a topic that a lot of people are, and maybe we'll spend a day, because there's still the topic we need to speak about, Mr. Bola, about being unemployed and also being unemployable.
Yep.
You know?
We have to get to that.
We have to get to that topic, because some people that you see sitting on the side of the road and saying, oh, well, government in no jobs for nobody, and them young people can't get employed, and
Are they employed?
Are they employable? Good. That is the next question. And are we training our children and our young people in society to be employable and not just to find a job? So let me try reaching out to the minister once again. I may have to try calling her from my end. Let me see what I could do here, Mr. Bola. But we have to get on that topic of being employable. So let me see if we could reach the minister. Hello.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Oh, it seems like it had somebody else on the line too. All right, let's try again. Because there is information that we do need to get. Hello? Oh, there we go. It's ringing.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Minister. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning to you and your listeners.
Good morning. I've been trying endlessly this morning to reach you because I promised my listenership that we would reach you by the end of the week, because we know next week is a very busy week for you. To get some more clarity on the tablet issue. I know we don't have much time, but it is something that is of great importance as we go into the new school term, which is almost 2 weeks away, or less than 2 weeks away.
Right.
Right. One of the main questions that a lot of our viewers and listeners have as it relates to those e-learning devices, or tablets as we call them, is that $50 fee. A lot of people have been talking about that $50 fee. Could you give us a little more clarity on when it would be paid, how it would be managed, and so on?
All right. So, Duncan, the obvious thing is that the devices is worth something. And if you go to buy a tablet in the store, you know that there's a cost for that. Mm-hmm. In this specific case, we are not passing on the cost of the device to the parent. The government has covered the cost of the device up front. And so what the parents are really contributing to is the maintenance of the device, the content that is going to be on the device, and also those features that are going to be accessible on the device to the students, right? And let me just give a little example. For example, the secondary school device. So you're not going to get a device for under $1,000 in reality, right? That cost the government is bearing that cost, right, for every parent. Now, what we are saying is that we are moving away from textbook, print books, which parents currently pay $25 for every school year, sorry. And the government is moving towards having those textbooks on the device. So the government has to pay to develop those books, right? And the government pays the company for those books, right? Those are not free. So what parents are contributing, we are saying, if you've paid already your $25, you do not have to pay that $25 anymore because we are no longer charging parents for the print books, right? Clear enough?
Yes.
Right. However, what we are saying is that that $50, that additional, so it's actually an additional $25 because parents are going to be having far more resources than they have had before, inclusive of the fact that you do have a device that has to be checked regularly, that has to be updated regularly, and it is an additional feature that they are having to what they currently have. Now, the other thing we want to consider is this. With your textbook, print book, once that book is updated, so a new edition, what does that mean? We have to get rid of that old edition and replace it. So now what is going to happen is that we are going to use the same company and they are going to do the updates online, right? So continuously there would be additional support services that are going to be provided. So students would be getting far more out of what is being done now. So for example, with your textbook, I'm reading, for example, let us say, for example, a sentence that has a word that, as the child, I don't understand, right? Or I don't know the meaning. In that ebook, right there, the child would be able to click on that word. You get the definition of that word. You get explanations. You get photos. So it is actually an opportunity where the child literally would have in their hand an actual library to an extent. And so what we are asking parents to contribute, $50 cannot provide access to a device for an entire year, right? Government is making that. In every school, we would have to be placing somebody there as a technical person. Right. So if students need further support, we are providing that. It is right there. We have to invest in additional spare parts, in additional replacements, all of those things. There is absolutely no way that government could pass on the cost of this to parents. There's absolutely no way because parents generally would not be able to manage this. So what we are doing is asking parents, just as they do with the school books, that they continue to pay $25 plus an additional $25, which is the $50 that we announced. So it is not separate as in $25 for the school book and $50 for the device. We've decided to put that in one, so parents just pay a flat $50 once per year, right? Again, I want to reiterate, there are some parents who have already paid the $25 for the school books. And what we are saying now is that will go towards that $50 that they are expected to pay.
Okay. All right. And to me, it's clear enough. Mr. Bola, is it clear enough to you?
It's absolutely clear. Good morning, Minister. But I, for the benefit of some people that are, in some instances, bent on being mischievous, I would really like if the minister can itemize the cost. So I know my child gets a device. This is what it costs the government: 1, to purchase the device; 2, to program it; 3, to put the ebooks on; 4, to maintain it for the entire school year. So there's a cost of $2,000. I just use $2,000. The ministry, if they can do that, and that can be shared with people. I am contributing only $50. So the government, in other words, is contributing $1,950. Just for greater clarity and to take away that bit of ammunition for mischief makers, I hope the ministry might be able to do something like that. Is that possible at all, Minister?
Okay, I totally agree with you, and we will make that available to the general public.
Great.
Let me just give another example. To get the devices here, you probably coming from the
Minister, we seem to be losing you. The connection is not that great.
And she's disappeared.
Hello? Hello? Right. It seems like we've lost her. And we are kind of out of, well, close to being out of time. But what I'm going to do is I will arrange again, hopefully, for some time during this week to, next week, sorry, to have her on for about an hour or so.
If you can get her for that long,
if we can get her for that
half
long.
an hour might be good, because there may be people who have a few questions that they can probably send in, via WhatsApp or so. If we can get Minister back on sometime next week. I don't know what happened there. We've just lost her. The technology has failed us.
Yes.
Sometimes that do happen, but, we'd endeavor to have Minister on again sometime next week so she can give greater clarity. You're trying again to see if you
let me
can
just
get her
try
for the
one more
next-
time to see if we can get her again. All right. So she's able to finish the point she was making.
Yes.
Hello?
Hi. Hello, Minister.
Yes,
It
some
seems-
reason we got disconnected.
yes, we
there.
did.
Yes, so I think I'm not sure if you heard when I made that point, that yes, we are going to share that full cost, including the cost of shipping those devices from Hong Kong to Grenada.
Yes.
And not just shipping them in ordinary time, in COVID times. What is the real cost incurred as it relates to those? So, yes, I totally agree with you. We are going to make some details available to the general public.
Good. One last one from me, Minister, because time is running out on us, and I know you are extremely busy as well. You did say now, I think, that all of the devices for secondary schools are here. So it means that every secondary school student from Form 1 to Form 5, or is it just from a particular form that will be receiving the device? No. And the second part of the question is, when those for the primary schools are coming in, you said you don't want to give a time yet, but they are on order, and I agree with you because shipping can be an issue there for you. Would it also mean that all primary school students will is being catered for a device?
Right. So the thing with regards to devices, and I shared that at a ceremony yesterday, sometimes we don't recognize our blessings, right? In the OECS, if you look at what is happening, Grenada is really way ahead with the government's commitment as it relates to providing devices for every student, right? So only yesterday I was speaking to one of my colleagues, and they are saying, they don't know how they're going to do this in September because they are only able to provide 7,000 devices, and so they have 12,000 secondary school students. So they are thinking of just doing Form 4s, Form 5s, maybe some of Form 3, right? That's the situation in one of our neighboring islands.
Yes.
Now, in our case, we are going to be providing to all secondary school students and all primary school students, right? So we are committing to over 20,000 pieces of devices.
And Minister, when you say all primary school students, is that inclusive of private schools? Because I know that there was some query as it relates to private institutions.
No, listen, the laws of Grenada are very, very clear as it relates to government and businesses, private businesses as in schools, right? Government don't provide to private schools, right? Now, there is a section of the law that caters for government providing to private schools, which is what you call a private assisted school. So whenever we speak about private schools in the context of the law and education, we are guided by the definition of a private school. A private school is when the owner of that business takes full responsibility for providing everything for that school. If you reference the Education Act, I believe it might be somewhere around Section 96, right, Division 3, which speaks about assisted private educational institutions. In Grenada, there is no assisted private educational institution, meaning an assisted private educational institution, the government could help with maintenance of the institution, could help with providing furniture and equipment, things like tablets. The government can assist with the infrastructure, the building. The government can help with payment of salaries and other things that the Minister of Education approves for assisting that private school. Now, what qualifies a school to become an assisted private school? There must be a written agreement between the Minister of Education and the owner of that business, right? And what makes that different to a private school is the management and the operation of that institution. So if a private school decides, I don't want government to be anywhere involved in the management of my business, that's okay. It's catered for in the law. But if a private school decides, I want to change my status from private to assisted private, then the law speaks specifically from section, I think, 96 up to about 102, 102, what is required of a private assisted or assisted private school, which is where the government provides. As far as my recollection, I've known of one assisted private school from some years ago, which no longer is the case right now. But in Grenada, we don't have. So it means that whenever the government functions according to the law, and it refers to all students or all schools, it's actually referring denominational schools and public schools, right? It does not take into consideration private schools, which is operating as a private business. And as I said, we do not have currently any assisted private school. And even when you do, the government and the school discuss and the government agrees what it is able to do to help or to assist and what it is not able. To change from private to assisted private, a school must make a request to the government and the process starts. And we have no such school in Grenada that has expressed interest in being, well, one particularly, I should not say though. Recently we've had one, but that has gone not very far in terms of discussions yet, right? So I want to make that point clear. However, we have in recent times provided support, educational support, meaning we have a responsibility according to the law to supervise, inspect all private schools, so that we do. But in addition to that, whenever we have training for teachers and principals and so on, wherever we can assist a private school, we have done so, right? And when we have meetings with principals, providing information, updates, and so we include private schools there. But the government has no obligation by law that whatever you provide to public school that you have to provide to a private school. And the main reason why we cannot do this at this time is the financial situation. So government is saying that even if the law says this, if we're in a situation where the country has sufficient resources, that it can be expanded to include every child in a private institution, and whatever we give into public, the government has the resources to give to private, then by all means we have no difficulty with that, even outside of the definition of assisted private school. But the reality is, you heard me say we need $1.9 million to reopen school on the 7th of September, and that is only for 4 months. And right now, we don't know what will happen after those 4 months. That is because we have financial restrictions. So it means that any decision you take, anything you're going to share, anything you're going to give, before you make a commitment wildly or you loosely make a commitment, you have to know that you have the finances. So I can get very excited and I can say that we are going to give to every child in every private school a device. And then on the 7th of September, a child in a private school asked me, well, why haven't I received this device? And I say, well, it is because we do not have the financial resources. I have to manage what I say, and it has to be grounded in reality. Right. The reality is we are unable to give to a private institution at this time a device. Now, what I've learned is that private schools have gone off and they have, in some cases, purchase their own devices, and they are making those available to parents. I'm not sure what the arrangement is because they are private. They're a private business. I cannot interfere into those arrangements, right? And we applaud and we commend them for that initiative, and I trust that parents would understand that they cannot expect a private school to give them the device at the same cost that the government would give it, because of course, the government is subsidizing those devices significantly, right? So I trust that explanation helps a bit in terms of understanding government's commitment according to law as it relates to students in Grenada.
All right. Well, Minister, there is so much more that we need to speak about, but we are currently out of time. But I believe that is suffice for the moment and answers some of the direct burning questions. But we do hope, we know that you have a busy week next week, but we do hope that we can have another, however short it is, conversation surrounding the reopening of schools before it actually happens.
Oh, sure. Not a problem at all. I will definitely make myself available despite the challenges.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister.
The time.
Have a blessed
day.
And a wonderful weekend.
All right. Now, Mr. Bola, we are currently out of time. We will be doing some, deliberation, follow-up conversation as it relates to the topic at hand. But for now, any closing remarks?
Well, I just want to say to people, those who have been listening, those who have joined us, those who have called in, those who have shared their comments, we're grateful for all of it. It makes for good conversation. We really do hope that we can find some time during the following week, should we survive the weekend. And I hope God is going to continue to bless us as a nation and as a people, that we'll have a very good and happy weekend, and we can come back next week starting from Monday, God's willing. Continue the conversation, continue understanding better, and conversing more about how we can take care of our responsibilities as parents, and how we can continue to encourage our children so we can have more of them graduating and doing the best they can after school. So do have a good Friday evening and continue to have a good weekend. God bless you. Take care, all of you.
All right, guys, and it is in that breath we say, in whatever you say and whatever you do, be safe, be secure. We always want to be talking with you. We don't ever want to be talking about you. Please do enjoy the remainder of your day and the rest of the weekend. Please stay tuned for the National Report.
Phased approach to be taken to open a new building at the General Hospital. Details to this and other stories in the National Report. Welcome back. With the details to the news for Thursday, August 20th, 2020, I'm Delroy Lozan. A phased approach will be implemented to open the new building at the General Hospital. The building will be used for outpatient services including the laboratory, accident and emergency departments, pharmacy, outpatient department, dialysis services, and administration. The second floor will house the laboratory where PCR testing for COVID-19 will be conducted. Construction is still being done, however, the conference room is in use by staff. GIS was given a tour of the building on Thursday with Director of Hospital Services, Dr. Carol McIntosh, to see the progress that has been made thus far. She brought us up to date with the progress of the facility.
A first phase that's going to be opened up is our third floor, which is administration, but also houses our conference room and boardroom. And that area, medical records and finance will be coming up along with our offices as well. But a key thing that's occurring is that right now it is open for our conference room. And we've had conferences with our house officers where they've done teaching conferences, had meetings with the heads of departments and the various heads as they needed to, as well as starting hopefully within September, the nursing assistant program, which will be able to train our nursing assistants for us to provide here at the hospital and other hospitals on island. So we'll be able to provide the classes as well. On the ground floor, we have to build the corridor that would connect back phase 2, back to what we would say phase 1 or the general hospital. So any patients that would require admission would come down to the ground floor to go through the corridor, and any patients that would require radiology services or any other services would come from the hospital across there through the corridor. So until that is completed, we cannot move in outpatient department and pharmacy. And again, the annex is under construction now for imaging, and our imaging services will be moved across there, as well as dialysis, and hopefully that will start in September, October.
Upgraded security systems and emergency exits are also features included in the new building. Dr. McIntosh explained the approach which will be taken to furnish the departments with equipment. Some of the equipment from the main hospital will be moved to the new building to provide services.
The equipment primarily is not coming from the general hospital, okay? So we'll say for the laboratory, some of the equipment would come over, most of it would not. What we're doing is making the different arrangements of upgrading our equipment to be able to have that to be brought over, and when it comes directly here as opposed to going there and then coming here. For imaging, that is one that's ongoing. So we're preparing for the various imaging equipment. Right now, Global Medical came in and helped us to not to upgrade, but to fix our X-ray machine so we can provide more of the services. Another one, we were blessed to be able to get and to purchase XR6000, which is a digital X-ray machine. So that one is when it comes in, which will be expected in the first week of October, will come directly here and go straight into imaging. Dialysis, of course, we're supposed to be getting in the 5 units. Once we have completed the area for where it would be, then those will be coming straight in.
Continuing the news, remedial work on the Grenville bus terminal to reduce the level of flooding in the area is included in the Green Climate Fund Climate Smart City project. That announcement by Minister for Climate Resilience, Senator Simon Steele. He was making a presentation at Wednesday's sitting of the Senate in response to concerns from opposition Senator Tessa Sincere that the terminal was constructed in a flood-prone zone. The Green Climate Fund seeks to boost the country's resistance against climate change through projects and programs. In Grenada, the GCF projects include water management, proper land use, coastal zone management, and hazard mitigation, among others.
The work that is taking place right now with the Green Climate Fund, with New York University, and the Climate Smart Cities program, which also looks at Grenville, recognizing the extreme climate vulnerabilities that exist there and some of the chronic issues, in addition to the St. George's area, is what they call a bathtub effect, where you have instances of high tides and extreme flooding from our watersheds. So you have water coming down, you have water coming in with nowhere to go, and extreme flooding, which we are seeing over and over, and it is only going to get worse. The project, the Climate Smart Cities project, is looking, a part of it is looking at addressing some of these critical areas.
He explained that the remedial work to the terminal are more systemic and complex and will not be a quick fix. Senator Steele says government is more concerned about finding a long-term solution than what the solution will cost.
Some of the solutions sound very simple, but they're certainly not cheap. And extensive engineering studies have been done, will continue to be done to address exactly what has been suggested. But the capital cost to do this on a comprehensive basis is significant. But that is what this government is pushing forward. Difficult problems to solve, holistically, nationally, expensive problems to solve, but through our relationships with the international community, bringing in the technical expertise, identifying these core vulnerabilities, and looking at long-term solutions, not solutions that's just going to fix the problem for today, recognizing that climate change is here to stay, is coming up with solutions that will last 50, 80 years from now.
This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
The house was shaking. Then started the story here, babe. Crack, and the roof had gone.
Man, I was so scared, I nearly wet myself.
Only those who have lived it can truly understand the devastating fury of a hurricane's wind.
The house across the road just get up and roll over.
Hurricane force wind. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. You can hurricane-proof your home. For example, make your roof more wind-resistant by using screws instead of nails in its construction. Find out more about hurricane force winds and other hazards at your local disaster office.
A message from the National Disaster Management Agency and SEDERA.
Welcome back to the news. The Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, through the Pest Management Unit, is reminding the general public of the importance of following the proper procedure when importing plant products and materials into the country. Pest Management Officer Thaddeus Peters says this reminder is necessary as a safeguard measure in preventing the invasion of pests and diseases. This, he says, is regulated by the Plant Protection Act, which requires that an import permit be attained to process the products.
You need to do an application. The application now is done via the Asikuda World System, which is a platform at the Customs Division. So there is the plant licensing module that you can apply through using the services of a customs broker or persons who can do it on their own can proceed to do it. Once the application comes through, it is determined if the product is in something that doesn't pose a great risk. And once it does not, then it will be responded or approved, and the conditions will be stated.
Peters says over the years it has been challenging trying to combat some of the pests and diseases the country's agriculture has been faced with. He said it should be a collective effort as pest management cannot do it alone.
Pest management is not just about a unit or a department. It's about stakeholders taking responsibility for what they have on the farm or in the backyard. We can give advice. In certain cases, we actually give some direct assistance, but it's impossible to treat or manage pests on everybody's holdings. So it's a collective responsibility, and people have different approaches to managing, but at the end of the day, we need to manage it, and it's not just about the agriculture. You can have aesthetics being damaged. You can have, people into tourism, people into different things that you need to have. We need to produce, have plans protect our forests from pests because that's where our watersheds are, and so on. So it's the entire environment. You can have a pest devastate, and then so it's important that we be conscious of the risk. Whenever we import, it comes with a risk of introduction of something different.
Finally, in the news, the Ministry of Agriculture has once again received a donation from the People's Republic of China. It has received 2 greenhouses that will be used in its fight against the effects of climate change on crop production. Karima Lewis has more in this report.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Lands was the recipient of 2 semi-automated greenhouses from the People's Republic of China that will be erected at the Maribo Propagating Station for use in the Ministry's Protective Agriculture Initiative. These greenhouses were handed over through a short ceremony at the grounds of the Chinese Embassy at Morris Bishop Highway on Thursday.
Today, it is my pleasure to hand over 2 sets of greenhouses to Ministry of Agriculture on behalf of People's Republic of China and our embassy. This is a part of China assistance to Grenada agriculture sector since the outbreak of COVID-19.
That was His Excellency Dr. Zhao Yongshen, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the People's Republic of China, giving brief remarks at the ceremony. Accepting on behalf of the ministry was Minister for Agriculture and Lands, Honorable Yulin Bean Hosford, who is optimistic of the productivity these greenhouses will contribute to within the sector.
Today the ministry is the proud recipient of 2 sets of greenhouses which will contribute in a very significant way towards the ministry's trust to improving production through protective culture technology. As the ministry places much emphasis on increasing production, we are mindful of challenges brought on by climate change and the need for us to continue to produce food throughout the year. We believe that these greenhouses, when installed at the propagating stations, will serve as a reference point for the implementation of the protective culture technology component of the National Food Security Mitigation and Response Plan, as the many lessons learned can be used to improve the efficiency of the process going forward.
These greenhouses will allow for plants to be propagated in a more controlled environment, contribute to a decrease in mortality rates, which will then make available an increased quantity and a better quality of crops on the market. For the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Karima Lewis.
Thank you, Karima. That story concludes the National Report for Thursday, 20th August 2020. Recapping the headline: phased approach to be taken to open new building at the General Hospital. That's all from us here at the newsroom. On behalf of all who made this newscast possible, I'm Delroy Loza. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.